Hello and welcome to Polity with Davina. I'm Davina. We're talking about how Kamala provides care, how Trump is dangerously unfit, and how Kamala Harris's appearance on The View and interview at present time by Howard Stern are all important contributions to the onward and upward movement to have Kamala Harris be elected the next president of the United States, take her rightful position as the only trustworthy person running for office presently, because we have Trump, who's had multiple calls with Putin, according to his own aides, according to Bob Woodward, the legendary deep throat journalist from when Nixon was in office. Not that I endorse everything Bob Woodward does, but he does have the capacity to worm his way into the trust circles around Trump. We know this from the tape recordings he made of Trump talking to him in February 2020, disclosing to Bob Woodward that he thought COVID was quite serious and that its impact wasn't going to be limited to the elderly, but that younger people would also suffer, and that it was airborne, and that he knew bad things would happen, but that he wanted to be a cheerleader for the United States, which I also take as his cover story. What Trump wanted was to enhance his own prospects of re-election, or at least his own prospects for success in fomenting an insurrection. The dude wanted a trade deal signed by the Chinese president, President Xi, in January of 2020 in order to cover up the escalatingly obvious manufacturing recession that was afflicting the United States in October and being reported on in October of 2019. And I can just quickly bring up the screen for that because there's a LA Times article that regular viewers will know I always share as just key evidence, being that it was published in October 2019. Manufacturing is now officially in recession despite Trump's vow to boost industry. This man is terrible for the United States economy. He is reckless, foolhardy, self-promoting, and that leads him to do reckless, foolhardy, damaging things like declare overly broad trade wars with American trading partners, resulting in savage losses for not only American farmers, but American manufacturers and adjacent industries, such as the transport industry and the storage industry. So let's have a close look at this date here. It's October the 11th, 2019. So for any people tempted to vote for Donald Trump, look at it. His economic credentials are terrible, and it's just never received adequate attention. Can I make that even bigger? No, that's as big as I can make it. Okay, so let's go back to some more things, because we're going to use Twitter. I call it Twitter because Elon Musk paid $44 billion to try and pervert the outcome of the outcome of the election, in a direction that would increase his chances of staying out of jail. The man's not only an associate of P. Diddy, as recently as I've seen photos today from 2022, but he's likely guilty of election security fraud crimes relating to pumping up his stock value, as well as misleading investors to a criminal level. And I'm just speculating it's likely, but certainly Elon Musk acts that way. Hey, where's my... Oh, well, I'm going to see a snippet soon from Drew Barrymore's interview of Kamala Harris. But first, I'm going to share with you the rock star reception that she got on The View. And I'll just give you my background as to why women care so much about Kamala Harris being elected. We know we need to turn out, or at least many of us know we need to turn out in this election. Not me personally, I'm a resident rather than a citizen. I have no voting rights, but I have talking rights, and I will not hesitate to use them, because I will not stand quietly by and offer my body as collateral damage to the performative morality competition of Republican voters who misunderstand or gloss over the risks associated with pregnancy and labor, ignore the fact that the US already has the highest maternal mortality rate amongst all industrialized nations, and that this rate is 2 to 3 times, even maybe 4 times higher for Black American women relative to white American women, and to know that this is often because necessary medical treatment is delayed and necessary medical treatment can be denied. And that is particularly the case in relatively southern states where Republican-led legislatures have passed laws that complicate the ability of a medical professional to deliver the treatment that they think would be appropriate to stabilize a woman's health and to preserve the functioning of her organs, the future of her fertility, and the integrity of her heart health. Because when you are left to hemorrhage untreated for a long time, you can develop conditions such as atrial fibrillation, you can develop congestive heart failure, you can have a lot of problems that are attendant to your untreated pregnancy complications. And pregnancy comes with a host of complications that we often don't discuss as if it's some kind of secret women's business. And it should no longer be secret women's business. You need to hear our stories of painful induced labor, of the risks to our heart and health, things that women willingly endure when they want to add to their family and they feel safe and secure enough to bring a child into the world knowing that they have at least the emotional resources to care for it. Hopefully the familial and financial and intellectual resources to care for a child as well. But if you compel a woman to bring life into this world when she feels that she cannot, when it will endanger her health or it will endanger her ability to care for her family members that she's already looking after, when you make pregnancy a forced birth outcome orchestrated by the state, and you're saying a woman has no legal standing, she is merely a host body, then that's when I say, oh, you're gambling with my life and the lives of other women, and many of us won't stand for it. We understand the risks attendant with pregnancy, and we accept those risks only when undertaken willingly. And we don't accept those risks imposed on us against our will. And we don't accept as just or necessary collateral damage the deaths of women such as Amber Thurman or Candy Miller, or the imperilment of the lives of other women. Just when I thought you had a clue, please read a book. We women shouldn't have to tell you how wrong you are. What would you like to tell me I'm wrong about? I love debating specific people and specific claims. It's very enjoyable because it ignites passion and it ignites motivation. So if you were to tell me, for example, that you didn't know that the rate of maternal mortality had risen 56% in Texas since 2019, and that over the same time period, the national mortality rate for women had risen by only 11%, comparatively speaking, then you're showing me you're ignorant of the death toll that is indirectly caused by the pompous false piety of Republican voters who continue to elect people in those Republican-dominated states where gerrymandering is rife and Democratic voter demoralization is also rampant, that you have entrapped women who have been then subsequently forced to bleed in parking lots, waiting for their condition to be more legally visible and legally acceptable as life-threatening. So women who maybe doctors would only feel confident in saying, oh, their life is 20% imperiled. And remembering that a woman's health and bodily function can deteriorate rapidly as she is left untreated to bleed. That pulse rates can drop, that sepsis can take over, that retained fetal tissue from an incomplete miscarriage, even from a much loved, wanted, cheerfully anticipated pregnancy, from a woman who's been to baby showers, been showered in presence and love, and has anticipated bringing a new life into this world. The minute you say that woman's legal standing is less than our desire to pretend that we care more about the unborn than you, our desire to be judgy and say your circumstances aren't suitable for an abortion. Abortion providers write into blogs and secret confessionals all the time saying they have many, many conservative women as clients in abortion care centers who say I don't approve of abortion. I think it's murder. I think the people who have abortions will go to hell, but I need one right now. My circumstances are different. My circumstances are special. So the type of people that will always attribute goodness to their own circumstances and their own choices, and always attribute bad faith, laziness, irresponsibility to other people's choices and other people's circumstances. Those are the people that you don't want to give power to. They will imperil families. They imperil your communities. They're the kind of people who vote for Donald Trump and say, what? I thought it would be a good thing if there were mass deportations. I held up a sign at a Trump rally saying mass deportations now. I was hasty for the violent, unorganized removal of literally between 11 to 25 million people. That's how many people Trump has variously promised to put into camps and deport from the country. And my family has a little experience with that whole movement to mass expel and mass eliminate a group of people. And that's because I'm the grandchild of Holocaust survivors, and my grandmother was encouraged and indeed compelled by her parents to jump from a train that was taking them to a concentration camp. So I'm aware of how politically potent it can be with the gullible and the racist and the xenophobic to tell them moral clarity lies with us, with Hitler, with Trump, with Mussolini, in saying those others are bad and you are good. All you have to do is join with me and my friends. We are all releasing you from the burden of having to watch your tongue and be polite about other people. Be impolite, be rude, lie, or lower your standards of belief. Be willing to jump on board and believe that Haitian migrants on temporary protected visas are somehow illegitimate, are somehow should be denigrated for their work in contributing to the Springfield, Ohio community, because those migrants have built up and re-energized that community economically and socially. And the employers in that town have spoken up and then got death threats from Trump supporters. The mayor has spoken up. The governor, the Republican governor of that state, the state of Ohio, has spoken up to say, we welcome these migrants. In fact, we sought these migrants and said, we want to make Springfield, Ohio a migrant-friendly town. They declared that as early as 2014 to make Springfield, Ohio an attractive place for migrants to move to, knowing that a declining population was contracting their economy and making it more likely that families would be split apart and children would feel, as they grew up, would be compelled to leave the town to look for work elsewhere. They reversed the fortunes of a town in decline, and their thanks for it at the hands of the Hitler acolyte Donald Trump and his pal J.D. Vance has been to have bomb threats and hatred and vandalism and threatening emails and threatening behavior towards them, falsely accusing them of murdering people's pets. So this person, maybe they just didn't, maybe that's just a bot actually, a bot that responds to people with the hashtag Kamala provides care. Oh, so they want to sound thoughtful, but it's probably just an automated response. And I was being all like, when's the next comment coming? I'm happy to talk more about this, and I still am. Political strategist Rachel Bitecofer has said that Republicans are often good with message discipline, and they understand the value of repetition and just being very repetitive on topic. Whatever lie it is that they're telling, they know to tell it across platforms and across different politicians and just deliver it consistently and to feign conviction. Put your whole chest behind it when you falsely accuse migrants. Try not to make any admissions like J.D. Vance inadvertently did when he said, oh, if we have to create a story, if I have to create a story, I will. Because blah, 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 I have to draw attention to this made up problem that he was confecting in order to drive a fascist-style narrative of hatred for minority groups. Because it's like unleashing the power of an atom bomb. You split the atom of decency and you release the power of appetite for violence and the moral clarity of othering, saying, you others are bad and we, the in-group, we are good. It feels very simple. I've seen people describe it as feeling like all the noise fades away because moral nuance goes out the window, and you have found an enemy to condemn, and you have found a grievance community to unite with. Donald Trump harnesses the power of self-designated white grievance, people who feel keenly the loss of white titlement. They think they should be favored, and they are afraid of being disfavored as people come to make more of an effort to include Black voices and Black artists, and to value and respect people of differing skin color, rather than uphold a prior paradigm of white superiority. That even when slavery ended, that paradigm and of perception was still in place in order to make people feel heroic, and that their ancestors were heroic, even though there's a lot of less than heroic behavior. And even though America's initial wealth was founded on the immoral exploitation of stolen Black Americans. I say stolen, so I should say stolen people from Africa who then became Black Americans, and whose labor was not only stolen, but who were denied their promised reparations of 40 acres and a mule, and had to watch while white immigrants from Europe and other places where white people came from were offered significant tracts of land on which to build homes and wealth. So that continued denigration of those who've undergone slavery and experienced the forced segregation of Jim Crow, and just the general individual and collective disparagement at the hands of people whose most important goal was to uphold a framework of superiority, godly ordained superiority in many cases. All right, let's listen to Kamala Harris. I don't think we have yet, and that's very important.
Please welcome back the next president of the United States. Please.
So that's just important because during this time, you occasionally get polls from people like, organizations like Rasmussen that have been now shown to have been coordinating with Trump operatives in the Trump campaign. And they do it to deplete people's joy and energy. So celebrating the joy and energy and the conviction behind Kamala Harris supporters, and that audience of people willing to all stand and cheer so enthusiastically, like their favorite person in the world was in the room. Because Kamala Harris is the favorite person in the world for a lot of sane people who understand that we are at risk of an aspiring dictator once again taking the helm of this leading nation and abusing its people, and then being very prepared to abuse other nations around the world as well. So here, let's watch Kamala Harris see for the first time a segment of SNL in which Maya Rudolph is imitating her and doing a great impression.
They say that imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
So Maya Rudolph on SNL, the cast of Saturday Night Live is delivering for you. I think she's really good. She's spot on. Let's watch her do it. Let's watch her.
I am so happy to be campaigning in whatever swing state I'm in, which I will just refer to as Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Because I am going to protect your Georgia.
She did it, right?
Yeah.
Do you like it? Do you like it? People? Do you like it? It's fun, right?
Maya Rudolph. I mean, she's so good.
Yeah.
She's so good. She had the whole thing, the suit, the jewelry.
Yes.
everything.
Georgia.
One last question. When you become president, will you come back on The View? We'll hold you to it.
Of course I will.
They say that imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
So Maya Rudolph on SNL.
I think a key difference between this election and the 2016 election, a lot of women were probably able to suffer from complacency and delude themselves into thinking that it didn't matter if Hillary won or not, because Donald Trump wouldn't win. And he was believed to be so universally despised that the chances were slim. Now, they were not exercised to think that their own rights to access medical care would ever be threatened. And now we've had women with blonde hair step up, and women from all walks of life, people who wanted to be parents and people who wanted to be free to just concentrate on the children they have. And they've stepped up and said, this was happening to me. I had a wanted pregnancy. I was miscarrying. I was turned away from multiple emergency departments, multiple emergency rooms, and told to go away until my condition deteriorated sufficiently for the legal department, the risk department, to say, okay, yep, I don't think you're putting your license on the line. I don't think you're at risk of going to jail. Because there are lifetime jail sentences and 10-year jail sentences on the line in some states for doctors who are deemed by who knows what type of prosecutors, well, Republican prosecutors, to go after them for delivering reproductive care, delivering abortion care to women. We are not host bodies at the pleasure of the state. And I should find some quotes from Judge Burney, who overturned an abortion ban with that type of language, to say the state cannot compel a woman to carry a fetus to term. Let's see what Judge Burney said. I can Google Judge Burney abortion ban decision. All right. It was a Georgia abortion ban that he overturned, and it's probably been put back into place by a higher court by now, but still, what a Georgia judge's decision to strike down 6-week abortion ban means. I'm pretty sure this has been now stayed. This decision has been stayed by a higher court. A Georgia judge struck down the state's 6 weeks abortion ban on Monday, and this is 5 days old, in what advocates hope is a sign of growing energy for protecting reproductive rights in the judiciary across the country. He wrote in his decision that the 6-week abortion ban, which was passed in 2019, but only went into effect after the US Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, that it violated Georgia's constitution. The decision allows a state to resume abortions up to about 22 weeks of pregnancy. And the thing is, after 22 weeks of pregnancy, there are still reasons why women might need an abortion. A medically necessary abortion might be on the cards. And then women just have to pray that they have the funds to go to another state, such as Colorado, where there are doctors who have the background to be able to deliver difficult abortions in the case of those type of medical emergencies, those crisis type situations where fetal abnormality incompatible with life has turned up, something that was missed at the 20-week screening, which is very possible, or a woman's health has deteriorated, or there's been some problem that means it's now necessary for a woman who's committed so many weeks of her life, so many months of her life already to bringing a new baby into the world, and they are experiencing a personal tragedy and a medical emergency. But women have to pray and hope they have the funds to be able to take time off work and travel to Colorado, because so many states have outlawed abortions past 22 weeks, as if women are doing it for fun, as if there are some feckless women who change their mind on a whim. 22 weeks, women who have suffered nausea and pushed through, women who have suffered extreme fatigue and cramping, and all manner of conditions associated with pregnancy. Lift the veil, women. Share with your friends and family some of the difficulties you experienced while you're pregnant, because people seem to be suffering from not all people, but some people seem to be suffering from a misconception that it's all peaches and roses and being congratulated on glowing. I enjoyed being congratulated on glowing when I was pregnant as a nice offset to everything else I suffered, which was morning sickness type nausea that didn't restrict itself to the morning. That was often particularly strong in the evening. And I was nauseous and struggled to do my work. All right. Let's go back to Twitter. Oh, we're listening to... No, we're not listening to that. We're going to listen to this.
Can someone...
Johnny McEntee, a former Trump aide and someone who's been an author of Project 2021. And he said, where are the women who Kamala Harris refers to as bleeding out in parking lots? Where are they? And so this one woman stood up.
Track down the women Kamala Harris says are bleeding out in parking.
Present. I'm right here. I had a 19-day miscarriage in Idaho because of the abortion regulations. I was turned away not from one ER, but 2 ERs, technically 3, because I walked into one and they said they wouldn't help me and I had to walk out. On day 8, I went to the 3rd official ER that I got checked into, and I never did receive a DNC. They gave me 1 dose of pain medicine in 19 days. I continued to suffer exponentially for the next 11 days. I blacked out in my hallway due to blood loss. I stopped eating, so my daughter stopped eating. So I had to eat with tears running down my face because it was actually painful to eat because I was in so much pain. Everything hurt. But my daughter needed to eat, so I was not about to make her not eat because I wasn't eating. I developed a heart condition called AFib.
Short for afibrillation.
It means my
atrial
heart doesn't
fibrillation.
work right anymore. And it fucks up. So if I get too excited, too hot, too much in pain, too traumatized, if somebody yells at me too much, my heart fucks up. And so I have to regulate for my heart to keep active. Otherwise, I could have a heart attack and die. I have to deal with these side effects for the rest of my life because of abortion laws. And I can't control other people's actions. I can only control what I can do. But yeah, women are bleeding out in parking lots. I actually have a pinned video of me saying they're going to just let me fucking bleed out here, if you want to refer to that. But I'm present. Hi, my name's Carmen. You can Google article. Yeah. You can find a whole bunch. BuzzFeed. But yeah, we exist.
So Carmen Brewster, I should get better at saying her name, because that is the other example. Women have real things to be afraid of. And that's all I'm going to say for now. I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for joining with me today. To all those who listened, and to any replay viewers, thank you. If you wish to be interviewed or you have any suggestions for other broadcasts, please let me know. I can be reached at davcat43 on Twitter. As always, bleep Elon Musk, the corrupt billionaire who's trying to pervert the outcome of the election, presumably to obtain a pardon and a cabinet position from his co-conspirator Donald Trump. That's all. Take care of yourselves, each other. Please register to vote if you haven't already. I think in some states it was the last day yesterday, but check your own state. Check to make sure your voter registration is active. Make sure you turn out to vote for this election. I know you know what's at stake. And I know you can inform yourselves to an even greater extent, but the economy is at stake. The people, the health of the women in your lives is at stake, because our lives will be used as a dice for other people to roll if Trump wins a second term in office, because nobody will be there to protect us from the kind of national abortion bans, reproductive surveillance, and just general disdain for our rights to access necessary medical treatment, to stabilize our health, to save our lives, and to save the intactness and integrity of our organ functioning, including our uterus, including our future fertility if we desire to have other children in the future, and the ability of our family to have a living parent, female parent going forwards, or a living healthy female parent going forwards. Because there's more than women who care about the health of women. There's men who don't wish to be widowed or have wives debilitated by their mistreatment, by doctors whose hands have been shackled by murky, vague, unclear, but chilling Republican passed legislation. Thank you and goodbye for today.